Today on Your Voice, Your Vote, we're taking you on an exclusive tour.
This is the people's building, and everything we're doing here are for Oregonians.
A major renovation underway at the state capitol. You're going to get an up-close look at the progress.
So what makes it so innovative?
Well, we are holding up the state capitol.
What they're doing to prepare the capitol in the event of an earthquake, and what else is underway to give this 86-year-old building a major facelift. Your Voice, Your Vote starts right now.
From K2 News, this is Your Voice, Your Vote with Steve Dunn.
Hi, everybody. Great to have you with us. I'm at the Oregon State Capitol in Salem. This 1938 historic building has been undergoing extensive construction for the last 8 years. A significant portion of the work is being done to protect the Capitol in the event of a massive earthquake. We're going to show you some of the innovation that goes into a project of this size and scope. It's called the CAMS Project, an acronym for the Capitol Accessibility, Maintenance, and Safety Project. There are 3 stages to the project. I'm going to show you what's being done in the 3rd phase. But first of all, some background. This is actually Oregon's 3rd Capitol building. The state's previous 2 were destroyed by fire. The first fire in 1855 was considered mysterious. No foul play is suspected in the second fire, which took place in 1935. This Capitol took 2 years to build, completed in 1938 during the Great Depression. It's a National Historic Landmark. Here's some of what's being done to make sure the current Capitol remains the people's house for decades to come, so Oregon doesn't need to build a new Capitol building for a 4th time. We toured the building the last part of May.
Usually the expression we get from everybody is, wow.
CAMS Project Superintendent Josh Faulkner hit the nail on the head. Wow is exactly what I thought as he led me and members of our production crew under the Oregon State Capitol for a tour.
That flat plate right there, that used to be the basement floor.
Protecting the Capitol during a major earthquake requires a tremendous amount of work around and underneath the building. Crews have excavated 15 feet below the original basement floor level as part of the 3rd phase of what's called the CAMS project.
33,000 cubic yards of soil taken out.
And support structures like these temporary steel towers had to be put in place.
So that was actually the first thing we built, and that was over a year ago, just to hold this building in place so that we could start building everything underneath of it.
What they're doing underneath the Capitol will protect it from an earthquake.
It's got to be something when you look at a project like this and you think, man, this is going to be a little overwhelming. And then once you get into it, I mean, look at all the stuff you've done so far. I mean, that's incredible. It must be just mind-blowing.
This is the most technical project I've ever been involved in, and it's one of the most innovative projects in the country.
So what makes it so innovative?
Well, we are holding up the state capitol, and it hasn't moved any more than 1/8 of an inch, and that's been on these stilts for over a year. So, and then how do you build a foundation of a building that already exists, especially one as heavy as this? We've had to figure out how to hold all of the marble in place, make sure that it stays, because you didn't want to skin the entire building, take all that weight off to have to put it all back on. So everything that's been engineered right now is the entire weight of this building. So it's pretty innovative, and to do it so that when you put it back together, it's going to withstand a massive earthquake.
Would you say so far that things are going according to plan?
I would say better.
Really?
Yeah, when you put a building like this, any building really, on a temporary foundation, you expect some movement. You expect some things to settle and creak and things to pop out of place, but that has not happened.
Nothing.
No. This design, Pacific Foundations did an incredible job. All of the subs out here and the trades workers have been phenomenal to work with. Just going above and beyond anything you would expect.
You feel confident when it's all said and done that we do have a sizable earthquake, that this building will hold tight?
Yeah, absolutely. You'll see when we go upstairs, we've actually built shear walls that run all the way up through the building. So we've stiffened the building itself so that when that earthquake comes, the building, even if it does move, can now move and not crumble. So the new columns we're putting in are way stronger than anything that were here before.
Impressive.
The Capitol has been damaged by an earthquake before. In 1993, the Scotts Mills quake, which registered 5.6 on the Richter scale, rattled the Willamette Valley and the Oregon State Capitol, creating cracks in the Rotunda. That quake was described as a wake-up call. In a 2013 report, the Capitol Master Plan Review Committee wrote, "The Capitol belongs to the people of Oregon, and the legislature has an obligation to protect and preserve it." It says if a major earthquake strikes, the Capitol will likely be destroyed and lives lost. State lawmakers approved the CAMS project in 2016, which will increase accessibility, address at-risk mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems, and improve security and life safety issues. This is what's being done to protect the 1938 portion of the Capitol during a seismic event.
This is actually your base isolator.
This is what's used to separate the earth from the entire building. So when the earthquake comes, the earth can move 2 feet in any direction and the building will stay still.
What's happening right now is you're standing on the new mat slab of the building. This is your foundation that moves with the earth. And in order to separate the building, you have to have some type of mechanism that will allow the earth to move but hold the building on top. So you have your mat slab, you have your base isolator pedestal, and then this is your base isolator. And it's a triple pendulum isolator. And inside of here, there are 2 discs that move basically in 3 directions, in any direction, so that when we build the floor on top of this, this allows that 2-foot integration for it to move. So there's 160 of these throughout this entire building. So that's what we're installing right now.
When it comes to the wings of the Capitol that were added on in 1977, Josh tells me they had to separate them from the 1938 portion of the Capitol, so now there's an east and west wing.
That's the west wing, which is now fully secured to the ground. There's nothing that's, in the event of an earthquake, again, that's the portion that moves. There used to be a bridge right there that connected the 77 to the 38. We tore that out so that we can, when we build it back, it will have that 2-foot gap so that that building can move and this building can stay still, but you need that gap so that they don't bang against each other in the event of an earthquake.
Something I found really interesting is that rebar from 1938 is being used in the new construction. It was made that well all those years ago. As our tour continues, we learned this from Josh.
The new basement floor is about 4 feet lower than it was before, and that's partially to accommodate the giant PT beams that we built overhead.
The new basement will allow for more usable space within the aging Capitol. There will be 4 new hearing rooms, general office space, a new restaurant, and more. We're going to move on to work being done inside the Capitol. But before we do that, there's something else I want you to see.
So this shot right here really shows you the future moat separating the earth and the building. And then this moat stays, and then where that rebar is coming up, we'll build the new concrete portion in here, and then we'll put seismic covers over the top of this moat.
Okay.
So again, nobody will see that it's there,
Right.
but there will be space, and those seismic covers in the event of an earthquake will collapse in one form or the other. They'll either pop up or crumble, or depending. There's about 10 different types of covers out here.
Inside the Capitol, we see some of the new offices under construction.
This is part of the portion that's going to turn over in April of 2025. So this is the east end of the building, first floor. We're going to turn over all floors 1 through 4 by next April.
This is Secretary of State's.
This is Secretary of State's
right here.
Yep.
Okay.
Not everything is new in the Capitol. Preserving the past is paramount.
So this is one of the historic corridors. Has the old travertine on it. So the original flooring, the original walls, the original travertine will be here. What we had to do, though, is take out the ceiling, and then we've just started replacing it because, again, the entire mechanical system, electrical system had to be replaced. So that's now all in place. We've redone the ceiling with the new plaster, and it will look just like it did before we left.
How important was it for you to restore this stuff?
I think it's a really big deal, right? This tells the story of the Capitol. And 1938 travertine is pretty phenomenal.
How does it make you feel as we get through these phases? And you look at this and, well, you got the ceiling up and we're making some progress here.
Well, it's a little tricky for me because my job is to drive the schedule and make sure that we're staying within budget and on schedule. There's very few times we get to celebrate because I have to move to the next section. Personally, this is fantastic. My kids have all sung in the Rotunda here at local schools, and during Christmas time they've come in and sang. So to upgrade a building like this as an Oregonian is an awesome thing. Career-wise, we're never celebrating. We're ready for the next phase. But personally, this is phenomenal.
We're going to hear from Josh a little bit later about a unique program started during the CAMS project. It has to do with how a game of pool or foosball can make a big difference in the lives of construction workers.
This is Your Voice, Your Vote with Steve Dunn.
Welcome back to the program, everybody. I'm at the Oregon State Capitol in Salem to show you the work that's taking place right now to update this building and improve its ability to withstand an earthquake. It's part of the CAMS project, which stands for Capital Accessibility, Maintenance, and Safety Project. The work, which started in 2016, is now in its third and final phase. Construction is scheduled to be done next year. Total budget for the 3 phases is $598 million. Now I'm going to show you one of my favorite spaces in the Oregon Capitol. You'll notice in the video you're about to see that I was a little surprised when I walked into the Rotunda.
Oh, look at this. Looks a little different, doesn't it?
From the floor to the ceiling, work is underway in the Capitol Rotunda. Bjorn Cloughton with SRG Partnership Canon Design is one of the architects on the project.
What's being done in this room? Can you tell me that in the Rotunda here?
Well, right now there's been some work, some seismic improvement being done to the walls behind these murals, and that extends all the way up to the top of the Rotunda. So there's new concrete and steel being installed up to stabilize and support the Rotunda all the way up through and including the Gold Man. And then the work that you've probably seen downstairs with the new foundations and footing for the building to support all of the load of the stone inside. Last week we were here testing the lighting for the medallions, for the murals, and for the floor. So we're in here until about 10:30 at night to do some test aims for the lights. That's why this corner is cleared out. And that's why the scaffolding is here, because they were using it to do some light tests and installations.
Visitors, when they come, when it's all said and done, what will they see that will they'll go, wow, you know, this is incredible, the whole restoration?
Most of what the visitors will see once they're into this space is they won't know anything that we did in behind. Really, all of the historic spaces, including the Rotunda, the chambers, the exterior of the building will all look very much like it always has, and that's part of the historic preservation of the building. What's happening downstairs is definitely some newer space with new hearing rooms and a new restaurant, and those will feel new spaces, but you'll have to go and discover those. Your first impression walking into the building will be just as it was for the last 100 years. And the mechanical vaults that are now buried on the east and west sides of the building, which house a lot of the mechanical electrical systems, are also hidden from view. So there's a ton of space that the building needed to accommodate modern systems, but it's invisible to the public.
How much safer will this building be after all this work is done that they're doing downstairs?
Yeah, the seismic improvement is designed to lessen the force of an impact on this building. And because it's a concrete frame with the marble and the stone wrapping it, wherever we can reduce that seismic force makes it safer. And so the base isolation system is something that's done all over the world for buildings like this and for new buildings. But it really helps focus the effort into a place that makes a big difference and a huge amount of improvement if we weren't using base isolators, there would be a lot more invasive structural work that would be visible within this space and that would impact the historic nature of the building. So it's a very good system to preserve, and it's a system that helps the building withstand, earthquakes, and the building will be a lot safer, both from an earthquake standpoint, but also from a fire life safety, with the new exit stairs, with fire protection, fire sprinklers, to protect both the people and the building.
Are you able to talk about some of the challenges that you faced in this whole project?
Well, any project that goes through multiple stages of construction is challenging, and that's really Josh's department in terms of how to deliver it. But certainly from a design standpoint, we have to think about how are people safe in the building when other parts are being constructed. So we get involved with making sure that there's appropriate exiting and making sure that the separations are there. But really the logistics of construction for multiple phases is really the contractor's scope.
Anything else you'd like to talk about as far as this project goes that you want folks at home to know that has gone on here?
Well, I just hope everybody comes to the Capitol and visits it, whether it's during session or off session, because it really is an incredible building, and it's an experience, and it gives you a sense of how the business of the state, where the business of the state is done, and the type of environment that they're in. And the building, having been here since 1938 is just a testament to that.
Throughout the Capitol construction, a huge effort has been made to keep the People's House open to lawmakers, employees, and you. I caught up with Jody Jones, CAM's project director, in the Senate chambers and asked her about that effort.
The mere fact that we have tried to encompass keeping the legislature running while we're still doing a project this large adds layers to what we're trying to do in actuality. We're taking approximately 7 to 8 years to complete the project, and a lot of that has to do with how do we keep the government functioning while we're working on this.
How massive has that been for these? I mean, you have hundreds of workers on a daily basis here.
Yes, we have, right now we have about 250 workers on site on any given day, and over the entirety of the project we'll have over 2,500 workers that will touch this project. And that's because of the number of trades that we need to bring in to do this, from the actual tear down of the building to building it back. And you can think of everything that has to be done in between there, and the sheer magnitude also with regards to the type of work we're doing. When you're doing the steel work versus now we need to paint. I mean, there's just everything in between, so.
Other folks from the outside are probably looking at this project saying, what's Oregon doing and how's this going to turn out? Does that put any extra pressure on you guys?
I don't necessarily think it's extra pressure. It's just that we do know that this is the people's building. And everything we're doing here are for Oregonians so that the work can continue. And so the pressure, I guess, is the questions and people not knowing what's going on. As an example, the other day I went and did just a little presentation to preschoolers because they walk by the building. What's going on? They see all the big construction. That's no different for the adults. When they see everything going on, they see things flying up towards the Gold Man and wonder what's happening. And we haven't had a lot of people being able to go on tours. It's a safe environment, but not for the common person to come walking through. So how do you tell that story and let people know what's going on?
How will you feel on the day that they cut the ribbon and this thing is completely done? How will you, Jody, feel about that?
Well, I'll be ecstatic because I get to go into retirement first of all. But besides that, it does give you a lot of not only comfort knowing that people will be safe when they come to the building, but also a little bit of pride that you got to partake in that. And basically every time I drive by this building or come into it, I'll know that I was a part of that along with the other 2,500 people that touched it.
While work is being done at the Capitol to make it more resilient, there's also an innovative program taking place here to help construction workers be more resilient. A unique program in the construction industry is taking place right here at the Oregon State Capitol. The idea behind it is to save lives. We're going to hear from CAM's project superintendent, Josh Faulkner.
Let's talk about what this room is. Josh, tell me about it.
Yep. So part of our GUTS program, which Hoffman's Get Us There Safe is our safety program, is also mental health awareness. We've had some suicides close to us. A lot of us have, and we came to realize that the construction industry is at the top of that list right now for suicides. We wanted to be a leader in how we start to handle that. And that came about by me being challenged by my own company of what can we do on site to give the trades folks somewhere to go, somewhere to express themselves in a different way. So when I thought of this idea, it was how I communicate with other people. And my communication has always been through competition. It's been video games or sports or whatever that is, that's how I communicate. You're never going to get me to a point where I sit down and just have a one-to-one conversation with somebody and tell you how I feel. But we'll play a game of pool, and I might say some words, and you might hear them. And even if you don't, I feel better for what I just said. So that's kind of the premise of this. We wanted to give everybody an opportunity, someplace to go, someplace to communicate a little bit better, to build a community. And so that's what this room is really about.
Is this unique in the construction industry?
I believe it is. This is one of the first, I know within Hoffman, this is one of the first GUTS rooms that was created. It's to raise that awareness that we're under a lot of stress. Timelines don't change. The pressure to hold up the state capitol is immense. So we just wanted to give an opportunity to step aside and take a breath, come in and relax, and at the same time build a partnership with other people. So,
Do you see it in these guys too?
oh yeah, there's a lot of folks that come in, and we've had guys that will be here after work. That job ended 2 hours ago, and they're in here talking. So it's doing what it's supposed to.
When all is said and done, construction will have been going on for 9 years here at the state capitol. A lot of hard work, time, and money has gone into this project to make the capitol more accessible to everyone and to protect this historic building in the future. We look forward to returning to the People's House and show you what it looks like when it's all finished in a year. I hope you enjoyed the tour.